Hey there, drone fans. Rick here again from Drone Valley. Well, today is another incredibly exciting day for me, and you can see I'm smiling ear to ear because DJI just announced the brand new Mini 2 drone, and I've got one right here in front of me. Now, before I get into all the nerdy details of what makes this product so special, let me explain how this clip's gonna work. I was lucky enough to be invited into the NDA group for reviewing the Mini 2 a couple of weeks ago, and I've been out there testing it like crazy, flying every day I could where it wasn't raining, but I couldn't talk about it, which is so frustrating because I'm watching all the pictures leak, the rumors, people are tweeting about it, and I'm watching that going, well, that's wrong, and it can't do that, and boy, if you knew it did this, you'd really be excited, but I can't talk about it because of the NDA, and I'm definitely going to respect that. But today they announced it, so I can talk about it all I want. So the way this clip's going to work is I'm filming this the day the product arrives. So I haven't actually opened the box yet, even though I've been out testing it for 3 weeks. This clip was recorded the day that I got it. So I'm gonna actually do an unboxing in front of you and show you everything that's included with the kit. And then I'll take a closer look at all of the components and explain exactly what they do so you understand exactly what you get when you buy the product. And then I'll give you the specifications. And that's all I'm gonna put in this clip because I normally do a clip that's 45 minutes long. And some people say, oh, your clips are too long. So I thought I'd break it into a couple of clips. The next clip, which will post later today, will be my first flight of the drone. And I'll include some footage of all the places that I've flown the drone. Now I've got a lot of places in New Jersey. I'd love to go down to South Jersey and film the Pine Barrens. I'm taking a vacation in Pennsylvania next week, so I'll be out in Pennsy for a full week, out in the mountains of Pennsylvania, so I'll get some great footage there. But I want to give you some samples of what that footage looks like so you can actually judge for yourself, is there a bigger difference with the 4K recording on the new Mini 2 versus the original Mavic Mini? I think there will be. Now, and then I'll come back at the end of that clip and give you some real experience with using the product for a couple of weeks. So this clip's gonna be, again, an unboxing, a closer look, and some initial thoughts of what the product can provide. So stay tuned and I'll get into the unboxing next. Okay, let's get started with the unboxing because I can't possibly wait any longer to get this Mini 2 out of the box and up into the air. And we have like a perfect day outside today for flying. I live in the East Coast. We're heading into fall. It's like 52 degrees. The sun is shining. The wind is down. The birds are chirping and the trees are turning that perfect color of orange that they do this time of year. So I'm going to get some amazing footage with this drone. Now what I have in front of me is the Mini 2 FlyMore combination, which includes extra accessories. And if you look on the front of the box, you'll see the drone and the larger style controller, which is different than the original Mavic Mini. They've gone to a controller that looks suspiciously like the Mavic Air 2 controller. And I'm sure one of the first questions I'm going to get is, Rick, if I own the Mavic Air 2, can I use that controller to fly the Mini 2? I don't know. I haven't opened it up yet. The box is still sealed, but I will test that. So stay tuned to the channel and I'll answer that for you for sure. Now, if you look on the back of the box, you get a picture of all the accessories that are included. The bag, the drone, the controller, 3 batteries, and 3 sets of propellers. And I'm a fan of the FlyMore combination because when you look at the accessories they include in this package, those are things you're going to want to buy anyway. You're going to need extra batteries because you get 31 minutes of battery, so 31 minutes, 31 minutes, 31 minutes. You'll also get extra propellers because I promise you're going to run into something. So you're going to need extra propellers. And buying the FlyMore combination gives you a much better value than buying a basic package and adding those accessories later on. So I'm always a fan of recommending the FlyMore combination. All right, enough talking. Let me get into the box. Now, I can't tell you the amount of restraint it took for me not to open this thing up, charge up the batteries, and just start flying it, but I wanted to share this experience with you. So here we go. Oh, man. All right, so the first thing I notice is a new case. It's different than the Mavic Mini case. The Mavic Mini case was more of a traditional drone case. It was flat and everything sat in it that way. This is more like a messenger bag, but it's really high quality. It looks like it's water resistant, it's scratch resistant, so it seems pretty durable. And I like that it's got a shoulder strap on it. So let me open it up. Looks like there's a big zipper here to open it up this way. Yep, and then the top opens up. There you go. So inside there, you can see all the components. There looks like a little pouch up top here too. So let me open that up. All right, what's in there? All kinds of goodies, I bet. Yep, oh, there's your propellers. All right, so there's 3 sets of propellers. There's a tiny little screwdriver to use with those propellers and a set of extra joysticks. So those are up top. Here's the drone. Ooh, look at that. Boy, that looks an awful lot like the Mavic Mini. Awful lot. Very same frame. Couple things I noticed differently right off the bat. There's a button down here. I can hear that clicking. That wasn't on the Mini. And they also give you the prop guard that comes with it, which is a really good idea because these props can get bent up pretty good. So if that's going to hold the props in place, that's a great addition. We'll take a look at that in a second. Here's a larger controller, and I'll take a look at that in a second. Here's a big box of accessories. and some other stuff, and then that's pretty much it for inside the pouch. Now, is there anything else? Wait a minute. There's another pouch on the front. So this is nice. You got an extra pouch up front where you can actually keep like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich if you're going out for a long day of flying. That's a good place to stash your lunch. And then also inside the unit, there seems to be a little bit of an extra slot over here, which would be perfect for carrying a small tablet or your phone or something that you want to protect from banging up against the other stuff. So I like this bag an awful lot. It's extremely versatile. All right, let me move that out of the way. Let's look in the accessory box first. This is probably the manuals. Let me open that up without ripping it if I can. Probably not. All right, oh, it's taped. Hold on a second. All right, I'm just gonna pop it open that way. Yep, tons of accessories. There are the manuals. Let me get rid of this. So in there, you've got a quick start guide. You've got the future of possible, so there's a scan code on there, probably for the application to download it. Yep, there's a charging hub in there. Talk about how to use the charging hub, some warranty information, and then the basic disclaimer guide that has a million pages in different languages. So I would recommend you read through those. It's always a good idea to read through the manuals. I know it's a boring exercise, but there's a lot of good details in there, and I promise you, I'll have a ton of clips on this new drone, going through battery care and all the rest of the stuff you need to know, but read through the manual, just make yourself feel a lot better knowing that you know what's going on. All right, so the accessories, let me dump these out. All right, oh, there's some more stuff over here. What's that all about? Looks like some cables. Oh, there's one more cable in the bottom. Yep, and that's pretty much it. All right, so in the accessory box, we've got, I'm gonna bet that's the charging hub. We have two connection cables for the controller. They're both USB-C, so they're using the same connection on the controller, and they include a USB-C to USB-C and a USB-C to micro USB, so they'll definitely support the older Android products. Comes with a nice charger, and it comes with a cable, I guess you can use to charge the drone or charge the controller. And it's a USB-A to USB-C. So I'm betting this has got a USB-C connection on it. Let me open this guy up and take a look at it. All right, boy, they tape these things closed really well. Wow, it's a different color. Now the Mavic Mini had a black one. This is gray, so it's gonna match the color of the drone. And the batteries are a different color as well. So I'm gonna have to check those out and see if they charge the same as the other ones. But you get the charging hub and two batteries. And again, I love this charging hub because what they've done with this is actually built a charging hub that you can charge from the USB-C connection. It'll charge the batteries in order. Once they're full, then it'll stop and it'll actually charge an external device. So if you want to daisy chain a USB-A connection from here to the controller or to some other device like your phone, you can actually charge all three batteries first, and then it'll go external and charge that. And it also has this indicator here to let you know if there's any charge in the batteries. Now, there are none on the batteries right now, so they've got to be charged up. Okay, so that's the batteries. Let's take a look at the controller. Let me open that up. I'm going to get to the drone, don't worry, because, man, that looks pretty good. But I saved the best for last. And I tell you, I'm going to be outside flying in about 20 minutes, so this is going to be a quick unboxing. All right, so let's get rid of that. Looks like exactly the same kind of controller as the Mavic Air 2. Again, the joysticks are on the bottom. Pop them off, screw them in, you're ready to go. I almost put that into the start button, which is not where it belongs. And I'll connect this other one up, and then you're ready to go. Again, USB-C charging on the bottom, a hiding place right here for the joysticks. Same expansion for holding the phone, so it's exactly the same controller as far as I can tell. And inside here, they've got the cable hooked up for the Apple. So that comes equipped with the Apple already in it. And then you've got the other two, the USB-C and the micro USB over there. So similar controller. If you've flown the Mavic Air 2, you'll recognize this immediately. If you haven't, this is a really nice controller. It's very well balanced. It's got the grips on the back and the joysticks fall right under your thumbs. It's almost a perfect controller as far as flying the drone goes. I like it an awful lot. I like it a lot better than the older style controllers. All right, let's take a look at the drone now. So on first inspection, it looks just like the original Mavic Mini. But let me unsnap it and see if there's any difference. Now I did notice that, pretty sharp eye, I did notice that on the Mavic Mini back there was just a light. There was no pushing. So the fact that that's got a click to it means it does something. I'm gonna have to read through the manual and figure that out. Another thing I noticed is the propellers are different. Isn't that cool? So the propellers have orange bands on them. Oh, stuff's flying off all over the place here. All right, they've got orange bands on them, which I guess is kind of a cool touch. Maybe that's to let your friends know that you're flying the new Mini 2 instead of the original Mavic Mini. But other than that, I got to say, it looks almost exactly a clone for the Mavic Mini. But again, with the advanced features, it's got the addition of OcuSync, the 4K camera, all the extra intelligence built into it. It's just a brilliant drone. And I love the Mavic Mini. I've talked about it ad nauseum on the channel. I feel like it's the perfect drone for new flyers. It's the perfect drone for experienced flyers that are going on vacation and want something small to take along. I mean, look how small that bag is. You can pack all the stuff, which is everything you need to fly, in a tiny little bag like that, which basically takes up less room than, I don't know, sneakers. You put a pair of sneakers in your bag, it's going to take up more room. But anyway, that's the unboxing. Now, if you stay tuned, what I'm going to do next, after I fly it a little bit, is I'm going to show you all these accessories up close, explain what they do so you get a real good idea of how they fit together and how you can use them. And then I'm going to go outside and fly it. I'm going to put a bunch of footage together and show you how good it looks up in the air with pictures and video. And then I'll come back with some conclusions, but I want to fly it a couple of days so I can actually give you an opinion of what I think of the drone and maybe what the differences are between the Mavic Mini and the new Mini 2. So stay tuned next and we'll take a closer look at the accessories. Inside the DJI Mini 2 FlyMore Combo kit, you'll find a new carrying case that's large enough to hold the controller, the drone, and all the accessories you'll need for an afternoon of flying. You'll also find the new remote controller, a two-way charging hub, 3 batteries, the Mini 2 drone, 3 sets of replacement propellers, a quick charging wall charger. This is an 18-watt charger that can be used to charge the controller or the drone or with the two-way charging hub, a charging cable, USB-A to USB-C, 2 controller cables, USB-C to micro USB, USB-C to USB-C, and there's a third one inside the controller that's USB-C to Apple. You'll also find a set of replacement joysticks, a tiny little screwdriver you can use to change the propellers, and a set of manuals that include a quick start guide, a manual in the two-way charging hub that explains the functions, a safety guidelines manual that explains all the things you'll need to know to safely charge and use the product, and then finally a contact sheet that has a QR code on it that you can scan to get in touch with DJI in case you have questions or problems with the drone. The two-way charging hub looks very similar to the one that came with the original Mavic Mini, except for the gray color, which is pretty close to the color of the drone. It'll hold 3 batteries and sequentially charge those based on their current charge level. When power is first applied to the hub, it will test all 3 batteries and pick the one that needs the least amount of charge, start charging that one, and then once that's fully charged, it'll move on to the one that needs the least amount of charge of the 2 that are left, and eventually get to the third one. On the side of the hub, you'll find a power button. You can tap that once to show you the current charge level of the batteries. Next to that is a USB-C port. That's the port that would connect up to your wall charger, and you'll actually charge the hub with that port. To the right of that is a USB-A port. This is called a two-way charging hub because not only can it be used to charge the batteries, but if you have batteries in here that have any charge on them whatsoever, you can actually connect an external device up to the USB-A port and use this like a battery bank. So the power that's left in the batteries will actually charge an external device. You can also daisy chain another device off that USB-A connection using the included cable, or really any cable you've got. And once you're charging the hub, if you hold the power button, you can actually charge the internal batteries and pass power to an external device and charge them both at the same time. The hub is quick charging, so if you use the included charger that came with it, this is an 18-watt charger, it will actually determine the voltage and current needed based on the current level of charge on the batteries to charge them safely and quickly, and it can adjust from 5 volts up to 12 volts to give you just the right amount of current at the right voltage. There's also a full instruction manual included that explains all the features of the two-way charging hub. The controller for the Mini 2 has been updated as well. It now resembles the controller that came with the Mavic Air 2. The joysticks are hidden in the bottom. It's got a couple of little hiding spots there where you can actually tuck them away. And to put those on, you just basically take them out of their holding spots and gently screw them into the top of the joysticks. And then once they're in, you're all set and ready to fly. And these joysticks are spring-loaded, so they'll return to the center position when you're flying. On the front of the unit, you've got a power indicator here, so if you tap the power button, it'll tell you what the current charge is. Again, fully charged. If that one's off, it's 75% charged. If that one's off, it's 50% charged. So each of these represent 25% of a charge. On the bottom of the unit is a USB-C port, and that's used to actually charge the remote controller. On the back, you have these really nice rubber grips, and you've got ventilation back there to keep the sensitive electronics inside at a comfortable temperature. On the top of the unit, you've got a function button over here, and you've got a photo button over here that'll switch between video and photo. So if you hit that once, it'll switch to photo. Hit it again, it'll switch back to video. 2 buttons here. This is the power button to turn the unit on. You'll push it and hold it, and then once it fully strobes up to the top, it'll make a beep and come on. Over here you have a button that's got multiple functions. It's got a return to home function, so if the quad's out in the field, if you hold that for 5 seconds, it'll trigger a return to home, and the quad will spin around and actually come back and land where it took off. It's also used as a hold button during flight, so if you get into a situation where you need to react really quickly because you're heading for a tree or you're not sure where the quad is, you can tap that. It'll actually freeze the quad in midair. On the top of the unit, there are a couple more buttons. Over here you've got a scroll wheel, and that's used to move the gimbal up and down. It can also be used for the zoom function. On the right-hand side, you've got a very convenient button that can either start recording if you're in video mode or take a picture if you're in photo mode. In addition to that, that's pretty much it except for the connections up top. Now this is the expandable phone holder and tablet holder. It won't actually expand far enough to hold a tablet unless you've got a really skinny one, but it'll handle all the modern phones as far as thickness goes. And inside the unit, you can see there's a cable already plugged in there. Right now, if I disconnect this one really quickly, that's just the holding slot. We've got the Apple connector on the end of this one. If you've got a different phone, an Android phone, you can actually unplug this other unit here and use the included cables to put the cable in that you need. The connection to the controller is USB-C, and then you can choose whatever connection you need on the other end. So if it's an Android product, it might be micro USB here or USB-C. If it's an Apple product, this is the one you want to go with. And you simply plug that into the controller right there, and then connect this end up to the device you're using to control the drone when you're flying. The first thing you'll probably notice about the new Mini 2 is the propeller stabilizer that DJI is including with the kit. This is a really nice accessory because it holds the propellers against the body of the quad, which protects them when you're putting it back in the original case or you're throwing it in a backpack. You don't have these propellers flapping around out there getting bent up inside the case. And that's important because if they get bent, they're going to really impact the performance of the quad. And to remove that propeller stabilizer on the side, you'll see a little buckle here. You basically unsnap that, take that off like that, and then this just drops off the bottom. And to put it back on, you see the slot there. There's also a little tab right here on the end of it. You'll want to hang the propellers down like that. It's the easiest way I found to do it. Line that up in the slot, and then flip it over like this, and let it hang down again. So the propellers, gravity's helping you there, so the propellers hang down. Come across the top of it, and then snap that buckle closed, and they'll be held nice and tight. And I like that a lot because it keeps those propellers safe. All right, so let me set that aside. Now to unfold the quad, you'll do it the same way you did with the Mavic Mini and a couple of other quads. You'll start with the top arms, and you'll slide these all the way out to end of travel. Now the temptation would be to let these go about midway because they're spring-loaded and let them snap out on their own. Don't do that because the torque that's applied when these things snap open and stop will damage those hinges over time. So you want to make sure you hold on to them all the way to the end of travel. Then flip the drone over and then basically release these down and out away from it. But again, hold on to these all the way through the end of travel and they'll last you a lot longer that way. All right, so let's start with the propellers. I want to talk about those first. There are differences in the propellers, and it's hard to tell, but the first thing you'll notice is you've got these orange stripes on there. Now, when I first started flying this, I thought, well, that's kind of cool because it lets me know that I've got the Mini 2 versus the Mavic Mini. I wonder if I can switch them back and forth. You really can't. These are made for the Mini 2. The other props work for the Mavic Mini, so if you've got both quads, you're going to have to get different props. And what I like about the orange on this is, and I think they thought this through, is I thought it was just cosmetic initially, but when you spin up the quad, these sort of draw a circle around where the blades are, where the props are. You've got a really nice visual clue now of exactly how far out those blades are spinning, so you're not getting your fingers too close to it, so I do like that. The other thing you want to be aware of is that the propellers are aligned where these two are the same and these two are the same. So you've got a set of clockwise and counterclockwise propellers. You absolutely have to make sure you put the right propellers on the right motors, and if you take all four propellers off, it could get a little tricky. But what you'll notice is on the propellers, if I look here, right at the end of the propeller, you see that little line on there? That's indicating one set of propellers, and the other one has no line. So you'll have line and no line, line and no line. And you'll just line those up basically with the new propellers. The other thing is when you're swapping out the propellers, you'll take the old propellers off, you'll take the screws out, discard the propellers and discard the screws. The kit comes with new screws and new propellers. You want to change them both and always change them as a set. The reason you want to change the screws is because at the very bottom of those screws is a little dab of Loctite which holds them in place. And once you use that Loctite, when you take these out, that'll destroy that bond and you can't reuse it. Now you could go out and get a little tube of blue Loctite and apply it if you want to the screws, but they give you new screws with the propellers that come with the kit. So just change it out and use the new screws and you'll be in really good shape. All right, let's take a look at the bottom of the quad. We've got plenty of ventilation down here to keep the electronics inside at a comfortable temperature, even on the sides. And on the front of the unit, I know a lot of people saw these and thought that they'd built in obstacle avoidance in the Mini 2, but they didn't. These are just vents. They're screens there that let the air flow through the unit across the top and out the back over here. And that keeps both the top and the bottom of the quad nice and cool. On the bottom of the quad is a power button. I don't have a battery in there right now, but if you tap that once and there's a battery in there, it'll actually strobe up and let you know how much of a charge is currently available on the battery that's in the quad. And that's a good thing to do in the field. I typically don't put a quad in the air if I don't have at least 75% of battery, but if you get down around that 25% mark, don't put the quad up because you're not going to get any flight out of it. To turn the quad on, tap it and hold it, and you'll see these lights strobe all the way up. When it hits the top light, it's going to actually make a sound, and you'll see the propeller sort of adjust a little bit, and that means it's live and ready to go. On the rear of the quad, you've got two VIO sensors there. They're used when you're close to the ground and you don't have a good GPS connection, or you don't have a good GPS signal. These kick in and actually look at the ground and will tell the quad how far it is off the ground. Those can be a little bit tricky if you're flying over reflective surfaces like water or snow or glass. So if you're flying over water, don't get too close. Stay above 15 meters or 10 meters at the very lowest, because they could give you some issues. On the back of the quad is an indicator light. Now on the original Mavic Mini, this was just a light that came on and let you knew about certain air conditions or that you were connected to the controller. On the Mini 2, I noticed this when I was unboxing it. Hear that click? It actually has a function. One of the things the Mini 2 can do is this new feature called Quick Transfer, which allows you to move the files from the internal SD card over to your phone very quickly, and it uses Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. And the way you instigate that is to tap this, and that'll take it out of OcuSync mode and put it in Bluetooth or Wi-Fi mode to connect to your phone. So if you need to do that quick transfer, that's what that button is for on the bottom. On the rear of the quad, pretty similar connections. They did move to a USB-C connector here, which is really nice because that's the standard everybody uses. You can use the included cable if you want to charge a battery inside the drone, or really any USB-C cable to charge it. Micro SD card over here. You can use an SD card and slide it in there and you're good to go. You'll open this door, slide the batteries in. There's connectors on the top for the batteries. Always keep this closed when you're putting it back in your case. You don't want to get any fuzz or anything on those connections inside. You certainly don't want to get them bent. They did build in little arms on either side of it here to keep them somewhat safe, but I still think they're pretty fragile, so make sure you keep that door closed. One other thing I'll mention is that when you put the battery in it, make sure you hear this door snap. Not that it holds the battery in, but if you don't snap that closed and you spin the drone up, this is going to want to flip up like that, and it's just going to look really goofy, and it could impact the flight characteristics of the drone. So just make sure that's fully closed. All right, in the front of the drone, you have the gimbal guard here. It's actually a gimbal guard and a gimbal lock, so it's holding the gimbal and the camera in place. So I can shake this pretty good, and that gimbal's not going anywhere. To take this off, you'll put your finger behind here and gently pull forward and lift it off just like this, and that's it. Set that aside. Don't lose this. Don't break it. You need to put it back on the quad. I know a lot of folks like to fly the quad, then put it back in the case without actually putting the gimbal guard on it, but this is an incredibly fragile assembly right here that's sort of spring-loaded. You can see how it's floating in space. You don't want to put that back in a bag and have something bang up against it and cause damage, or get the front all gunked up. All right, the camera, again, it's a 1/2.3 inch sensor, but it's 4K capable. You can see it says 4K right on there. I kind of like that they put that on there. It's kind of bragging rights for the gimbal. And that's pretty much it for the drone. The new DJI Mini 2 features a professional 1/2.3 inch CMOS sensor that can deliver incredible 4K footage, as well as crisp 12 megapixel raw images through its use of the 3-axis stabilized gimbal. A larger 83-degree field of view helps you capture nice wide landscape shots without distortion. The Mini 2 also allows you to zoom up to 4 times while recording 1080p content and 2 times in 4K mode, so you'll never miss a detail. 3 automated panorama modes are included in the DJI Fly application that make creating these larger combined images quick and easy. There are also 5 automated quick shot modes available that will guide the Mini 2 drone through a set of pre-programmed flight patterns to make capturing that perfect shot easy for new flyers. The drone includes the latest OcuSync 2.0 transmission technology that ensures a rock-solid connection up to 10 kilometers away, but should always be flown only as far as you can maintain a visual line of sight. The larger 2250 mAh batteries provide a full 31 minutes of flight time on a single charge and can be quick charged with a standard QC charger when needed. The Mini 2 also has improved flight characteristics, which allow it to be flown in winds up to 10.5 meters per second. With one-button takeoff and landing, GPS positioning, and automated return to home, the Mini 2 always knows where it is in the air and can find its way home to land safely if needed. All of this incredible technology has been engineered into a small drone weighing less than 250 grams that you can take with you anywhere to make your moments fly. I hope you found those details helpful, and now I'd like to give you a few of my initial impressions about the brand new Mini 2, because I'm sure there are going to be folks out there that look at this drone and think, it's a Mavic Mini. Okay, they tweaked a few things. They changed the color of the battery bank. They put a new remote in the package. But Rick, you're getting way too excited about this release. It's not that big a deal. I'm here to tell you it's a huge deal because they didn't just tweak a few things. They didn't just update some stuff through firmware. They fundamentally changed the architecture of the drone in the way it flies, the way it records video. It's almost like they took the original Mavic Mini and the Mavic Air 2 and stuck them in a blender, and this guy popped out. And the changes they made were not by accident. They listened to their customers. They listened to people like me me, where I'm telling them, hey, it would be cool if you did this or you did that. They read the forums and they put a wish list together of what the next generation product's going to look like. And I can't even imagine the meeting at the factory that morning where they walked in on a Monday, big conference table where the product manager walked in. He's got all the engineers around the table and he said, hey, can we have the Mavic Mini record 4K video? And somebody raised their hand and said, sure. Can we put OcuSync in there? Yeah, we can put OcuSync in there. Okay, can we make it fly further? Can we make it fly a little longer? Can we build in digital zoom? And all the hands went up and said, sure, we can all do that. And then the big question was, can we build it into a drone that's 249 grams? And I'm sure the room got quiet because think about that. I just described the Mavic Air 2. This is the Mavic Mini. It's 249 grams. So in a lot of ways, you've got competition here between the Mini now, this Mini 2, and the Mavic Air 2. And I'm going to do a clip comparing the two because there are differences that are important. A larger sensor on the Mavic Air 2, but there are things that are different. But man, they've upgraded this quad. And I've called the original Mavic Mini the perfect travel quad. I think it's a wonderful quad still. I'm not saying it's not a quad you want to own, but there's a difference between the two. And I'm sure they're still going to sell the Mavic Mini probably at a reduced cost. This one will be a little bit more expensive. So I'll have to put a clip together comparing the two to give you an idea of which of those two is right for you. But for today, the Mini 2 represents, it's a different technology. It's a much more upscale technology than the original Mavic Mini because a lot of people looked at that Mavic Mini when it came out and said, it's a toy drone. They dismissed it as a toy drone. And I said at the time, don't make the mistake of thinking of this Mavic Mini as a toy drone. It's small, but it's a small drone that flies like a big drone because of all the brilliance that DJI's built into it. They took it up a notch with the Mini 2. So I'm going to spend a lot more time going through the details. Again, I just opened up the box. I haven't even flown it yet. So these are my initial impressions based on the specifications and the conversations I've had with DJI. But stay tuned to the channel because the next clip I'll post probably later today will be my first flight and a bunch of footage from me flying out there in the field. Because remember, by the time I post that clip, I've had it 3 weeks. So I know it's a weird clip today, but stay tuned for that. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button down there because if you join the Drone Valley family, you'll get a little ding on your phone when we post a new clip, and you're definitely going to want to see some of the stuff we're reviewing. So do that. And then I've got other clips coming and talk about accessories and comparisons and things like that around this quad. So if you're in the market for a quad, I know I say this almost every time I review a quad, but I mean, this quad has got everything I want. So I'm going to be hard pressed to make a decision when I leave the house in the morning, whether the Mini 2 comes with me or the Mavic Air 2 comes with me. And again, that clip's going to take me a little bit of time to put together, but I'll get to it. So I've also got a link below. If you're interested in picking up this quad, if you hit that link, we get a little credit from DJI, so we'd appreciate you using that link. But if you've got questions about this, I'm putting together a top 10 questions clip as well, where I answer all the questions that we've gotten about the Mini 2. So drop those in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer you, but if it's a question that's common with a lot of different viewers, we'll put it in that clip so I can explain it in a little more detail. And that's pretty much it for today. So thank you so much for watching. I know I'm really excited. I had a lot of coffee this morning and I can't wait to get outside and fly this guy, but that's it for today. And thank you so much for all the subscriptions. A lot of people have been joining the channel and it's just been a thrill for me to be able to put these clips together. So I hope you guys are enjoying them. Anyway, till next time, happy flying.